everyone, I'm Brandy.
And I'm Billy.
Today we're going to be discussing more shocking revelations in the Charlie Kirk assassination, including some discoveries about Utah Valley University and Brian Harpole's interview with Shawn Ryan.
But we only have so much time and there is a lot to say, so let's get right into it.
Welcome to the Brandy and Billy Show.
First, we want to talk about some weird behavior from a TPUSA contractor. Now, keep in mind, this guy is not employed by TPUSA. So we're going to show you some odd videos from the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Some of you may have seen this before, but we haven't shared it on our channel yet. His name is Terrell Farnsworth,
tomato, whatever.
His main job is that he is a team lead at a company called Visual Impulse, which is a media/audiovisual company.
The backstory before we show this selfie video. So per Candace Owens, Terrell, he never does college events, right? So he only does big events that Turning Point puts on, like America Fest, which is typically every December in Arizona. So it was odd that he was at this college event. And Candace would know this because she's worked for Turning Point for a long time.
And yeah, like why would he go to the smaller events as someone who is typically contracted?
Like, I don't know.
The first video that we're going to show you, it's taken maybe like 7 or 8 minutes after Charlie Kirk is shot. And it is a video of him going and removing an SD card from a camera that was placed behind Charlie's head. It is looking out towards the audience. Mm-hmm. So this is 7 or 8 minutes after the shot. There he is, looking nice and calm. And this video was taken from like a random standby, right?
I don't even know where it was taken from, but whoever took it, thank you.
Right?
Right, like he looks so calm in it. Like I would be like shaking and like...
Yeah.
He looks like it's just the end of the show when he's just packing up.
Mm-hmm. Casual Tuesday. It was a Tuesday, right?
Wednesday.
Casual Wednesday. So yeah, this footage started going viral on the internet from whoever released it. And Candace Owens, she saw this footage and she was like, hey, I recognize that guy because I used to work there and he's also worked there frequently. So she called him directly and she asked him if she could see the footage that was taken from behind Charlie. But he came up with all of these reasons for why he couldn't send her the footage. First, he was like, oh, I don't want the TPUSA lawyers to get mad at me.
He was like, I don't know how to send the footage.
Yeah, he also said that he didn't know how to send the footage. As a media guy.
Yeah.
What?
Does not make any sense.
And then she gave him suggestions for how to send the footage. And then he was like, yeah, but if I send it like that, I'm worried that Google might hack me.
Yeah, she was like, you can send it via WeTransfer. And he was like, well, what if I get hacked? She's like, okay, well... What if?
Eventually, he did agree to show her the footage, but through FaceTime. So she doesn't like have the footage. She just has a recording of a recording of a recording, right? Mm-hmm. And what she relays to her audience is that the footage from behind Charlie was not graphic at all. So what was he even worried about in the first place?
I don't know. I think he said like he didn't want Erica to see the footage. But also there was the viral video of Charlie actually getting shot all over the internet at that point.
Which was graphic.
Yeah. And so she was like, well, everyone's already seen that. And she was like, I'm not going to release it. And I know you. And I know Charlie. I just don't understand why he wouldn't just send it to her.
Yeah.
And so circling back to that point, so Terrell's known Candace for years. And he knows that she's just trying to help. And at this point, she did not think that Turning Point was suspicious at all. But his actions and the video we're going to show you, she was starting to be like, this is weird. Shortly after Terrell shows Candace the footage via FaceTime, he sends her this video that she literally did not ask for, right? He just sends it to her. And he took this right after Charlie was shot. And mind you, he's worked for Charlie for over a decade. So you've known someone for 10 plus years, they get shot. What would your reaction be? So let's just watch this video and just keep that in mind. How would you react after your friend gets shot? Would you react like this?
Shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie.
He's like turning the phone away from him and then turning it back to him. And Candace is the one that released the selfie video to the public, right?
They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
Okay, so first of all, he says they shot him. Who's they? Like who is they? Who is he referring to? If at this point we don't know who shot Charlie.
Yeah. If I was standing there and I saw Charlie Kirk get shot, I would be like, oh my God, somebody shot Charlie, not they. Who is they? It's like he's implying that he already knows.
Yeah, they shot Charlie. So, and at this point, or not this point, but we eventually learn that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie. But yeah, who is they? And also, why is he videotaping himself?
Yeah, to answer your question earlier about what would you do if your friend just got shot, one, I wouldn't run away, start videotaping myself. I would start trying to help, trying to save his life.
Well, you go into fight or flight mode, right? You're either going to go and try to help Charlie, or you're going to run away because you think it's like a mass shooting.
Yeah, he went into flight mode. But
Right.
then he went into mission mode and like immediately went and started getting that SD card footage and like was very calm about it.
Yeah, but in that moment, right? Like you're either going to go help Charlie, or you're going to run away and try to get like cover, call the police or something. But no, he decides to take a video of himself. And he also says he's dead. How did he know that he was dead at that point? No one knew that Charlie was dead. Charlie got shot, fell to the floor. His security team escorted him or took him, ran with him to the car. So how do you know that he's dead at this point? And we're not accusing him of anything. It's just a weird video to take.
It's very weird.
It just doesn't really make any sense to me. Okay, so one of the comments last week asked us to address this. So Utah Valley University, aka UVU, their Turning Point USA chapter at their college applied for Charlie Kirk to come do their event in mid-July of this year. And this was only 6 weeks before the event. And this became Charlie's first stop on his college tour that he was doing this year. And per Candace Owens, who used to work for Turning Point, it takes many months to get approved, like sometimes a couple semesters. And UVU would definitely not be the first stop, only having applied in July.
And another thing that's weird is he was scheduled to go to UVU on September 10th, which he did. But then later in his schedule, he was scheduled to go to Utah State University on September 30th.
So there's a 20-day gap in between there.
In two schools that are very close together. Why would that be scheduled that way? That doesn't make any sense.
It wasn't typical.
Like TPUSA tries to go to as many states as possible. So they would have typically knocked out both of the Utah schools in one go. This is according to Candace. And to put them 20 days apart, like to go from Utah, then to Arizona, then back to Utah. Scheduling error?
It doesn't make any sense.
Why was this planned last minute, and why was it the very first stop with only 6 weeks notice?
No idea. It's a great question. So I also wanted to point out the fact that UVU did not have an ambulance at the school that day. And it is literally illegal in the state of Utah to not have an ambulance at an event like that. It just doesn't make any sense.
But also, why would you not want to have an ambulance there? Like,
that's a very big red flag there. So there's also some conspiracies online that some of the footage released at UVU might have been staged. And we were going to bring up an article from CNN posted on September 11th, the day after Charlie Kirk was shot. But we literally cannot find the article anymore. It's gone from the internet. I even asked ChatGPT to bring it up, and it says the article didn't exist. I even looked on CNN's website. So I'm not really sure why this article was removed, but don't worry, we took a screenshot of it. Used to be there, but we also found a different article from Prime Timer.
Prime Timer, y'all ever heard of that one?
Talks about the same thing. So we'll bring up this article. So this article says a UVU student told CNN that he saw a man who looked similar to the suspected gunman walking on or near the roof of the Losi Center on campus twice 2 weeks before Charlie Kirk was shot.
Yeah. And this UVU student has not been named to our knowledge, but we would love to speak with him if anyone knows who this student was, any CNN people who initially spoke with him, any connections, please. We would love to have an interview, get their side of the story. And according to the original CNN article, which was then covered probably by Primetime, I'm assuming Primetime probably just copied
Took the information from CNN.
Yeah. The student had reached out to the FBI and gave them this information. Never heard back.
Never heard back. Weird.
No, that's really weird. He described to the FBI that he saw someone who was tall, skinny-ish, white dude with dark hair, wearing dark clothes, carrying a backpack. That sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar. So yeah, according to the student, a professor also saw a man on the roof, and he asked him if he was okay, but this person on the roof kind of just dismissed him. And the last time the student saw this person, which was probably the second time that the student saw him, because he said he saw him twice in 2 weeks, was on September 3rd. So about a week before the shooting. And obviously he said it was unusual for a person to be on the roof, like obviously.
Yeah. And yeah, so basically just to sum this all up, the conspiracy theory is that maybe there was a man on the roof, and those photos that we showed you last episode, like the stairwell photos and the even videos of the man on the roof perhaps, were taken weeks in advance.
Yeah, like was it Tyler like planning his attack, or was it someone else? Maybe the photos released of Tyler Robinson wearing the dark clothes.
We're on September 3rd.
Yeah. So
Who knows?
That's the conspiracy, at least. Okay, so now we want to talk about the interview, which went viral, of Brian Harpole on Shawn Ryan's podcast show. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen this interview already, but we just want to dissect some of Brian's responses. And for those of you who don't know who Brian Harpole is, he was the head of Charlie's security detail. And then Shawn Ryan is a former Navy SEAL / CIA contractor. And now he has his own podcast show, which mainly focuses on politics.
And so the first of 3 clips that we're going to play from this show, Brian explains Charlie's security team was concerned about the event's location. Yeah, that makes sense. It's outside. It's not very protected. And then he goes on to explain why there weren't a lot of security measures. So let's go ahead and pull that first clip up.
If you're somewhere and you're covered from an elevated position from 180 degrees, it's horrible. And that's where we were. But that's come out. It's like, why would they have it there? This is ignorance. It's a security fail. And I'm like, well, one, that's where they told us we had to have it. We weren't optioned out anywhere else. There's a permit you have to get. And the school says, nope, this is where you have to have it. We don't get to argue with them. We don't get to say, no, but that's it. This is where you this is where you have to do it. And then secondarily, Charlie liked it. It wasn't ticketing. You didn't have gates. Regular people showed up, and we had spoke to him about it before. And it's like, man, this is getting dangerous, And his response was, I know. And so it's like, but if you ticket it and you make people jump through hoops to come in or pay or go through magnetometers, and then the people with opposing views don't show up, and then there's no conversation. And when there's no conversation, there's more division. And his goal was to have less division through conversation. And so the easiest way to get that was to open it up.
So before I say anything, I just want to be clear. We are not accusing Brian or anyone of being involved. We're just pointing out some odd things that he said. Okay. So with that being said, as the head of his security, he should have been like, hey, this isn't safe. We're not doing this here. And, Charlie pays these guys millions of dollars a year to protect him. And I don't care if the school says that's where you have to do it. It's Charlie Kirk. Like, I'm sure they would have, provided a different location. And to say that metal detectors and more security parameters would have pushed people with opposing views away.
That's just funny.
I don't think,
there's metal detectors, I'm not going.
yeah, like I don't think that having more security measures would have stopped people from going.
Absolutely not.
Like in this day and age, people are so used to having like high levels of security everywhere. So as a security team, they should have insisted on more security. So I personally I just don't like that answer at all.
Yeah. And so the next clip that we want to bring up, Shawn asks Brian if UVU gave any assistance to helping with security measures. And then he brings up the topic of drones. And this is going to be really interesting later.
In your coordination with UVU, I mean, did they offer any assistance, anything at all?
Yeah.
Did you ask them of anything?
Absolutely. So we come in and we start looking at things immediately. Like, man, where are our risks? You know, it's a risk assessment when we come in. That's why we get there. That's why we start doing the advance so early. We walk it, you know, we build it ourselves. And so initially, I spent thousands of dollars on drones last year and got the guy's license. But if the area lies in the Provo, Utah airspace, I can't fly it. That's a 107B. We can't break the rules, right? And then you had secondary restrictions, probably due to heavy foot traffic for the school. But I can't go in and break the rules. There's laws for a reason. And so now the school could have flown drones, the PD, but they didn't have them, right? But Orem PD has a drone unit, active and professional, and that police department, I will tell you right now, is awesome. They get it. They were there. They helped both on the soft side and the hard side. And so I started asking questions like, do you guys have a drone unit? Yeah. Good. Do you have an MOU or a mutual aid agreement with the school? And they're like, yeah. I said, did they call you and ask for assistance? No. I'm like, why wouldn't you call? And then, so, you know, that's one. So I can't go in and break the law. I can't make my guys break the law. I can't go in and do something that would jeopardize their
Do you
career.
have any idea why they would say no? I mean, was this malicious? Was this being malicious towards
I don't know
Charlie?
if no's the right one. I would say, did you ask? Did you ask this awesome PD that would probably help you in a heartbeat that you have an MOU with? Did you even ask them? And the answer was, from them, we didn't get asked.
All right. So when I looked this up online, you can fly drones over UVU's campus. You just have to get authorization. UVU's policy 705 requires a UVU flight authorization document before operating a drone on campus. And for non-employees or contractors, you also need to provide a certificate of insurance or a COI as part of the authorization process. So the airspace comment just isn't true. Okay, so then the Orem Police Department said they actually have their own drone unit, right? But UVU never contacted them or asked for support on the day of the event, which raises a question for me. Why didn't Brian and his team reach out to Orem PD themselves to make sure that there was drone coverage that was going to be in place?
Like he's turning it all around on them. Like, oh, they should have been protecting us. I'm sorry. Are you not the head of the security team getting paid?
Yeah.
How much?
Literally doesn't make any sense. So then he later says in the interview that he wasn't allowed to request Orem PD's presence and that UVU had to be the ones to do it. But I mean, even if that's true, why wouldn't you at least confirm with UVU ahead of time that Orem's PD's like drone unit had been requested?
That should be his job. Like, hey, UVU, apparently I'm not allowed to ask for the Orem Police Department. Can you go ahead and do it?
Exactly. Like, why would you even step foot on that campus if that wasn't confirmed? Okay, so we're going to play a clip from Megyn Kelly's show where she's speaking to Frank Turek.
Yeah, this is great.
Okay, so Frank was one of Charlie's very close friends / his spiritual mentor. And Frank has even said Charlie was like a son to him, right? And Frank was there that day. He even rode in the car with Charlie and the team on the way to the hospital. And so Frank says something that completely contradicts what Brian just said.
Completely contradicts
regarding the drones. So let's watch that clip.
And so I texted him. I said, Charlie, I hope you've increased your security detail. And he said, I have. I know they want me dead. Now, I don't think he had a specific they in mind, Megan, but he knew that there was hostility. I mean, he got death threats all the time. And he knew there was hostility out there. And in fact, when we were driving into that event, this is the first event I've gone to a college campus with Charlie. He said, Frank, if you can come help me the first couple of days, could you stay an extra day and come with me to the first event? I said, of course. So we're driving in, Megan, and his team has drones up looking at the crowd from above, and they text him some video. And there's thousands of people there an hour before the start. And I said, Charlie, I don't like this place. There's too many buildings. And but he shrugged it off. He knew there were thousands of people there. And he knew in order to minister to people, you can't completely isolate yourself.
So that's really funny. They sent him videos of the crowd and buildings via drones. So is Brian lying or is Frank lying? What's going on?
I have no idea. But if they did in fact have drones, wouldn't they have seen someone on the roof? Charlie was shot after the second question, right? So you would think that his team would have seen someone on the roof near the beginning of the event.
One thing that I want to say is at least Frank confirmed the fact that Charlie was like, I know, but I still want to do this. Like, at least
that part was true.
Yeah, at least they're both agreeing on one thing. I like Frank's interview more personally, just personal preference.
I personally trust Frank more. Okay, so the last clip that we want to play from Shawn's interview with Brian. So Brian says that he spoke to the chief of police of UVU. His name is Chief Jeff Long. And he said he spoke to him on Monday, and the event was on Wednesday. And he shows the text messages in this exchange. So let's play that clip.
And so we have some correspondence with the chief of the school on that day, on Monday before Charlie was killed. And why this hadn't come out and why he won't stand up like a man and admit this, I don't know. But he's watching a bunch of men lose their careers, and he's okay with it. On Monday before, this correspondence went to Chief Long. Hello, Chief Long. We received this message today from the student group. There is a student roof access pretty close to where CK will be set up at the Utah Valley. The Sorensen Center has a couple of staircases that go up to walkways on the roofs. He comes back, and for edification, the Sorensen Center was the building in front of the Lucy Center. And so he comes back and he says, you want access to the roof. And came back and said, I was told students have access above us. If this is true, it would be nice to either have it controlled access or allow one of my guys to be there as well, if possible. He comes back, and his last correspondence was, I got you covered. What else am I to do?
So yeah, some people that have commented on this text exchange have said that Chief Jeff Long should have done more. And then others are saying that he did what he was asked. I'm sorry, but if I'm Chief Jeff Long and someone comes to me with like, hey, can you give me access to something? Mm-hmm. He's not going to be like, yes, and give you all of these different possibilities.
Brian is the one who didn't respond, telling him what he needed.
Yeah. Chief Jeff Long, his salary is staying the same. Brian, you're getting paid mega bucks for this.
Yeah.
Let him know. This is literally your job. And I'm sorry, I just have to throw this comment in there. But doesn't that first text to him where he's like, hey, I heard there's access to the roof. Doesn't that sound like he's already planning for a cover-up, hypothetically?
I mean, in the text, he's saying that a student told him that there was roof access to the students. But like, what student told Brian that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
A student like figured out who Charlie's head of security is.
I mean, maybe it was a turning point, like chapter leader who knew Charlie, but it's weird to me. And it's like also circling back to the last text exchange. It's just, Brian should have followed up, bottom line. If you're the head of Charlie Kirk's security, you should be like, what does I got you covered mean? Does that mean you're going to be on the roof? Does that mean you have guys coming on the roof? Who's going to be there? How many guys? Where are they stationed? The I got you covered does not cover it at all.
No,
it doesn't cover it at all.
And if you're like watching these and you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm on Brian's side. No, I do not agree with you.
And we're not saying that Brian's involved. Like we already said, I don't know who's involved. That's why we're trying to figure this out. But as the head of the security, you should have asked more questions. You should know where your guys can be stationed, or if UVU police is going to be there, where are they going to be? Are they going to be on the roof? Are they going to be on the ground? What roofs are covered? Who's monitoring what? The statement, I got you covered, is not enough to be confident that Charlie Kirk is covered. It's just not. He should have asked more questions. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry, Brian. I am Team Jeff Long by a long shot.
Me too, to be honest. Billy and I were talking about this last night. So we would love to interview Chief Jeff Long. We would love to know his side of the story. So we actually found him on LinkedIn last night and we went to his profile. What?
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So, because we were trying to figure out how to message him, and his profile photo on LinkedIn, we could pull that up right now. It says open to work. And so you can put that as your profile photo if you're looking for work on LinkedIn. And I'm not sure if he updated his profile, like if he's recently did, or if it's like just old. I mean, maybe he did, maybe he got fired, maybe he's looking for a new job. But it's kind of weird that after we searched him and this whole thing just happened, it says open to work.
Especially with how hard Brian is coming at him. Like, this guy caused so many men to be fired. Like,
yeah.
What?
If anyone in the comments knows Chief Jeff Long
or has any connections,
yeah, we would love to get in touch with him and we're not going to interview him in like a hostile way. We just want to know his side of the story.
Like I said, we're Team Jeff Long.
Yeah, what Brian is saying just really doesn't add up to me.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's a few things, or maybe like a million things that we were not able to get to this week. But if you've been keeping up with the newly released information revolving the Charlie Kirk conspiracy, you might already know a little bit about the funny little airplanes regarding this investigation. Brandy and I really wanted to talk about the airplanes in this episode, but there's so much information on that particular topic that we might need to make an entire airplane episode.
Yeah, and to be specific, it's about the Egyptian airplanes, which if you're following Candace Owens, is the information that's been released is insane.
Yeah.
It's kind of even somewhat scary to talk about.
Yeah.
And we also wanted to get a little bit more into Rob McCoy, who we very briefly mentioned in last week's episode. But after everything that's been uncovered, we think that could be its own episode as well.
The McCoy family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really want to get to that. I get so passionate talking about the McCoys, like Rob McCoy and the amazing Mikey McCoy.
It's just funny to us that every time his name gets brought up, they have to go, the amazing Mikey McCoy, the magnificent. And it's like, why do you have to put an adjective before his name every single time? I don't get it.
I have so many opinions that I'm just gonna, for now.
All right. Well, for now, we're just gonna segue over to the comment section.
Yeah, we'll read some comments here. We'll try to make this a recurring theme at the end of every episode that we do.
So first comment is from David Morgan 156, and he says, if you study the photos of Charles McClintock Wilson on his website, you notice George Zinn pops up in the crowd close to 12:23, which is the exact time that Charlie got shot. It's as if he and the arresting officer Lightning McQueen t-shirt were sat on the ground waiting for the go signal. So if you guys remember last week when we talked about
George Zinn.
Yeah, it was really fun looking at the photos that Charles took trying to find George Zinn. It was like almost like Where's Waldo ordeal.
I don't know where the Lightning McQueen t-shirt is. This is interesting looking between the photos of George Zinn, and he just looks like very intense. He's intensely looking at Charlie. I agree with you. It's like he's waiting for something. This is the first picture of George Zinn right here, and he's on this side over here. Look at him. He's literally like... And this is the girl with the white shirt here that we're focusing on because George Zinn is next to her in both of those photos. Okay, so this is a comment from Miroslav_G, which says suggestions for future episodes, maybe a topic for a future episode could be chemtrails, and then they go on to give a potential guest for that episode. Brandy and I would love to talk about anything and everything related to the crazy corrupt shit that goes on in the world. I personally really would love to talk about the $5 million lawsuit between Elijah Schaffer and Kash Patel's daughter. I mean, girlfriend. I'm so sorry, Kash Patel's daughter. If you're watching this, please don't sue me. It was a genuine mistake. We really want to stay focused on the Charlie Kirk investigation for the time being because we want there to be as much noise as possible. Like Candace Owens, who currently holds the title for the most watched podcaster in the world.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
It's insane. Yeah. She's been covering this case nonstop.
Because everyone is watching this.
Yeah.
Even people that are like, she's not telling the truth. It's like, you're still watching. You're still interested because you have an inkling that maybe what the mainstream media is telling us is not true.
And still, regardless of that, the feds are like, la la la, we can't hear you, Candace, and her 2 million episode viewers. Like, and how many subscribers does she have? I know she that gets like
6 million.
6 million subscribers. We can't hear you, la la la. And it's just insane. So yeah, we want there to be as much noise as possible. Hopefully it makes a difference, even if it's just like a little spark. And yeah, not to mention the situation hits close to home. Brandy, I don't know if you want to talk about how you had actually met Charlie Kirk a few times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make it seem like I was best friends with him or anything because I was not. But Charlie and I both follow each other on Instagram. I used to live in Arizona. I was part of the Arizona Young Republicans group. I used to go to a lot of their meetings and like turning point events. So I've met Charlie a couple times. And we kind of already talked about this in our previous episode, but I wanted to go to the UVU event and I was going to ask you to come with me. But I had like 5 meetings that day at work and I was like, oh, I can't swing it. So I decided not to go. And I remember I was literally sitting at my desk and one of my friends texted me and they're like, Charlie Kirk just got shot. And I was like, what? But like in my mind, it's like, no, Charlie Kirk's not going to die. Like there's no, I thought maybe he got shot in the arm or like maybe shots were fired at him, but there's no way that he was going to be like dead.
I'm getting chills right now.
I know, me too. And I remember like hearing that and I looked it up on Instagram and I saw the video that everyone saw and I just started bawling my eyes out. And I'm a Christian, but I haven't like gotten down on my like hands and knees and like prayed to God for everything. Like, please don't take Charlie Kirk away. And I just like couldn't think. And I just got in the shower because I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. And I was just crying in the shower and my phone was going off. And I was like, please, when I get out of the shower, like, please tell me like he's okay. And I remember like there were Instagram posts like, he has a pulse, he's dead. And I was like, what is going on? And then Donald Trump confirmed Charlie Kirk is dead. And I lost it. I remember I called my dad and I was crying. I had like something to do that night. And I was like,
you canceled. I remember.
I was like, I can't go. And I think a lot of people in the world felt that way. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I was so close to Charlie. That's why. No, everyone was affected that way. People on comments on TikTok, they're like, I've never even really listened to Charlie Kirk, but I'm crying because I feel this, like the world is like crying right now. Like it was like a monumental thing for the whole world.
Yeah.
It was devastating. And I was like crying randomly for like a week. And I was like, no, I was like, something is not right here. This doesn't make sense. And I was like, I want to figure out what actually happened to Charlie Kirk.
And then you like sat me down and you were like, hey, watch this with me. It was, I think, episode 4 of Candace's coverage on this. I think it was the following Monday or maybe the following Tuesday. And I was like, this is crazy. The feelings that you felt are actually what drove me to actually watch a full Candace episode for the first time in my life. Actually, a full political episode of anything for the first time in my life. And now we're here.
Yeah. And I was like, we were talking about it. And I've always wanted to start like a political podcast because I've always been interested in politics and like talking about it. But then I've never had anyone to like do it with. And I was like, we kind of decided together, like, we should talk about Charlie Kirk, because what the narrative is online is just, it's not
true.
It's not true. And it's so obviously not true. And I was like, no, like I ramble all the time to everyone about this shit.
She does. She really does. We'll be out at a party. Everyone's drunk, you know, whatever. Everyone's had a few too many. And then I look over and Brandy's like talking politics. I'm like, oh, there she goes again. I'm going to go down.
I'm like, we should just do this. And like, just because I want to get the word out about like how much bullshit is being discussed about this. It's just what the mainstream media is saying is not true.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you wanted to do this with me so we can actually bring light to the situation, because it needs to be talked about.
I never imagined that I would be sitting right here doing something like this ever in my life. But it's because I didn't understand. I didn't have the knowledge. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't awake.
And I think the world is more awake now than ever.
Yeah.
That we are being lied to.
Yeah.
All the time.
I hope so. I really hope so.
And I think Charlie's looking down on people that are actually trying to bring justice to him and being like, good job. Go Max. Go Max. Everyone go Max.
Go Max.
We're done. We're done with the bullshit. We're done with the lies. We're all going Max. We're done with this shit. We're done.
Anyway, that started getting really sad. I actually was very sad and getting chills and like, oh my God, for a second. But let's try to end on a happy note here. Is there anything happy that we can talk about? Actually, that was really happy how we said go Max for a second.
Oh, I know something. So in the comments on our first video, so many people had following up questions
About
regarding
Charles
McClintock Wilson. So we contacted him again, and he is willing to sit down with us for a follow-up interview. So we will be posting a follow-up interview in the next coming couple weeks.
1 week from when you see this.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.